Hello and a warm welcome to Federal special program Capital Beat. At Delhi's Ramlila Maidan today was a big congregation of the India bloc partners. This mega rally, which initially was supposed to be held in protest to Arvind Kejriwal's arrest, turned out to be a big rally to save democracy and save the constitution. All the big leaders from Uddhav Thackeray to Sharad Pawar, Mallikarjun Kharge, Sonia Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, Farooq Abdullah, Mehbooba Mufti, many others were present on the stage. And all the leaders said one thing vociferously, and that is that BJP government has to go out of power if you want to save the constitution and save the democracy of the country. In fact, Uddhav Thackeray, if you look at his speech, he went to the extent of saying it in Hindi, "Ab ki baar BJP tadi par," which in a way means that BJP will be banished, BJP will be sent to exile. That's what exactly he meant. And others also, if you look at Tejasvi Yadav, he also made a vociferous speech, and he made all sorts of comparisons, as to what the Modi government or the BJP government has to offer to the people and what the real picture is all about. Similarly, Trinamool Congress sprang a big surprise because Derek O'Brien, Mamata Banerjee was not there. Derek O'Brien and Sagarika Ghosh, who has been newly inducted as the Rajya Sabha MP, they both were present on the stage. And Derek O'Brien very categorically said that Modi's guarantee has zero warranty when you talk about jobs, when you talk about institutions. And then he's demanded a white paper on Pulwama. That is what is the big demand. And of course, Sagarika and Derek O'Brien, both of them said that Trinamool Congress is and will be part of the India alliance, because there was a perception that apparently Mamata Banerjee has separated herself from the India alliance. So that myth was also shattered, because both the leaders from Trinamool Congress, Derek O'Brien and Sagarika Ghosh, they very categorically said that Trinamool still is part of the India alliance. Then if you look at Rahul Gandhi's speech, he gave a match fixing jibe at Modi, and he said that he's almost like a match fixer, and he's already arrested two of our leaders. And then he went on to say that this election is not about votes, but it's about saving the democracy and the constitution. And he actually warned the people that if the constitution is taken away from the people, and it will be taken away from the people if BJP returns to power for the third time, then there would be no reservation, there would be no fundamental rights left. All those examples were given by Rahul Gandhi. Similarly, Mallikarjun Kharge also spoke about what has happened to the democracy under the Modi regime. So all the leaders, in a way, spoke about the fact that BJP is not healthy for India's democracy. And not to forget, Sunita Kejriwal, Arvind Kejriwal's wife, also spoke on stage. Similarly, Hemant Soren's wife, Kalpana Soren, also spoke, and both of them were present on the stage. In fact, to talk about Sunita Kejriwal, she spoke about the 6 guarantees of free electricity, then the free government schools. Then she spoke about the Mohalla clinics. She said that the farmers will get the guaranteed MSP according to the MS Swaminathan report. Then they also wanted statehood for Delhi. So all these guarantees were put forth by Sunita Kejriwal as well. If you look at the rally today, in terms of narrative, it looked like a very successful rally. The messaging was very clear for the common man that BJP has to go out of power. At least that's what India bloc seemed to aim at. But is it really the turning point? Can this message be carried to the doorstep of every Indian when you look at what BJP has been saying? Because today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Meerut to address a big rally over there. And Anurag Thakur have already been, people like Anurag Thakur and various other BJP leaders have already said that this is not a rally to save democracy, but this is a rally to save corruption and the corrupt families. This is what he has been saying. So is this really a turning point? And can it backfire for BJP? Can India bloc leaders really, can they make this change felt on the ground? All these are difficult questions before us. So we'll try and discuss all of this. Joining me now is Shabnam Hashmi, the renowned social activist. She was present at the Ramlila Maidan. She's just returned and she's joined our show. Thank you so much, Shabnam ma'am, for joining. We have Dr. Akashdeep Puni, who's the Aam Aadmi Party leader. And thank you so much, Dr. Akash, for joining. We have Pushpraj Deshpande, who's the director of the Samrit Bharat Foundation. Thanks so much, Pushpraj. We have Girish Joshi, who's a senior journalist and political commentator, and Shabnam Hashmi, who was there. Thank you, Sharad, so much for joining. Shabnam, I'll begin with you. What was the atmosphere like today? And all what we have seen, what the leaders spoke, and the thunderous environment which was felt when the leaders were talking. What did you feel really when you were on the ground today?
I think the atmosphere was extremely vibrant. One is that we reached around 12, and I thought that always, when they announce at 11, it will begin at 12. But by 12, it was already very difficult to enter the place. And we couldn't reach even the middle of the rally. We were sitting quite at the back where
Hmm.
we found space. And then we were sitting there for over 3 hours.
Hmm.
So, frankly, we could not hear everyone very clearly because of the noise, because of there were so many people, and constantly people were pouring in from all possible entries which were there. And as they were coming in, so even there were many screens, but the you get disrupted. Vision gets disrupted because people are constantly coming in and coming out. But they were, what is very important, that I'm sure that all political party mobilized, but they were all very ordinary people. They were ordinary people from Delhi, from maybe nearby areas, but majority Delhi. Also from Punjab, we met some people from Chhattisgarh and a few other places. And the way they were responding to whatever was being said, the way they were cheering and sloganeering was going on, it was not a rally where people were brought in by giving them money or by organizing travel and so on.
Hmm.
So there was a lot of vibrancy, there was a lot of hope, and especially when Rahul Gandhi, it was announced that Rahul Gandhi is coming. Not that everyone in the audience was Congress, but around us, everyone just stood up and started clapping,
Hmm.
which showed that I think his yatras have made a lot of difference, and people have started, associating with him a lot more than probably they were associating earlier. So I felt absolutely overwhelmed by being there, by hearing all these leaders. Rahul and Priyanka was excellent, although she spoke for very little time, and so were Tejasvi and Akhilesh, as you have already said. So overall, it was reassuring because when you are sitting at home, although a person like me who's working round the clock to defeat these forces, you still feel that maybe there is no hope, maybe we are working, but today in that rally, one felt that it is not impossible. It is not an impossible task when ordinary people are coming in such big numbers that there are not even enough places to sit.
I saw a very emotive Facebook post written by you that you were almost in tears when you stood up at the end of the event. I really want to hear from you, and then I'll go to the rest of the speakers.
Yes, actually, we had started moving out after Priyanka Gandhi, and then they announced the national anthem. So we stood back and started singing, and I'm a very strong activist, but I started crying, and tears were rolling down my cheeks, and I realized that because just before that, Rahul Gandhi had spoken about that if they come back to power, then not only that we are going to lose the constitution, but this country is not going to remain one, because once these powers come back, they do not want India to remain as it is, and it will be like everything is going to be destroyed. And I was reminded of all the struggles, because I come from a family where my father has spent 4 years in British jail fighting the British, and we have heard and seen so many stories. And recently I've been telling everyone, see the film uh, Ae Watan Mere Watan, which is about the Congress radio and Usha Mehta. So it just reminded me of everything, the struggles with and so many lakhs of people who lost their lives fighting for the freedom of this country. And are we going to lose that? And also the national anthem. I mean, they have not come to us just, democracy is not something which is given to us by God or something. One has fought for it, and it has been long struggles. So it was just overwhelming, the whole thing. But I think it has given a lot of energy, not only to me. I'm anyway always very optimistic about, being succeeding. Uh, but I think today's rally must have given a lot of optimism to whoever was present there, and I'm sure that there were many, for a change. There were many, even the regular channels who were doing lives on, at least on their portals, if not on the television channels. I saw
Oh,
India Today doing
surprisingly, today the mainstream TV channels were also focusing on the Ramlila Maidan. Now, would you call this a change, or would you call it a compulsion, a news compulsion? Because it's a lean day, it's a Sunday. Maybe they were forced to do that. Uh, I really don't know in terms of narrative how is it going to play out. But I'll come to Dr. Akash now, because Arvind Kejriwal's arrest was the central theme, and of course, the Save the Democracy, Save Constitution. IT notices given to Congress, and coming close to the heels of how Congress has been given notices worth like 3,567 crore, if I'm not wrong with the exact figure. Mallikarjun Kharge had quoted that figure exactly. Some additional notices had come to Congress. But what does today's rally mean for Aam Aadmi Party?
Niluji, first of all, I am not a leader of Aam Aadmi Party. I'm just a political analyst. And
You're an app supporter. Yes.
yeah, I have a point of view on this. And I think that Arvind Kejriwal is more powerful in jail rather than in the like Julius Caesar was more powerful when he passed away. Similarly, Arvind Kejriwal today is more powerful in jail because you see the massive outscoring. Just imagine Aam Aadmi Party did not have one seat in Lok Sabha, and today all the parties are standing behind Aam Aadmi Party. I'll just give you regarding why they were standing. You know, this election is not a long play. Why I am saying this? Because January 31st is jail and Chief Minister is jail. March 21st is Delhi Chief Minister is jail. TMC, Partha Chatterjee, Jyotipriya Malik is jail. Then comes the tax terrorism, and there is Congress Party whose flags way back to 1994. तो 20 साल पहले का टैक्स अब आईटी डिपार्टमेंट को याद है. TMC has got notices. Left has got 11 crore notice. You know, while these all is happening, we see Chhagan Bhujbal, who was for 2 years in jail for a scam levied by Bharatiya Janata Party, case led by Enforcement Directorate, and then Enforcement Directorate goes to the court and says that we lost the files. So close the file of Chhagan Bhujbal after he joined NDA. The same happened recently with Praful Patel. When he's remember the Air India scam, Prakash Javadekar said that it's the biggest scam after independence. And today, CBI has closed the case. How come it happened? जब आप बोलते हो कि ना खाऊंगा ना खाने दूंगा, जितने लोगों के ऊपर भी आपने खाने का इल्जाम लगाया उनको भारतीय जनता पार्टी में ले आते हैं, उनको केसेस बंद कर दिए. क्या लोगों को ये नहीं है? आज जो लोग भी उनको सपोर्ट करते हैं, भारतीय जनता पार्टी को सपोर्ट करते हैं, उनको अपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में झांक के देखना चाहिए कहाँ पे है, कहाँ पे वो सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं. क्या आप एक बंदा जो है वो स्कूल बनाता है, स्कूल अच्छे नहीं, आपको भी पता नहीं जी. हम बचपन में हम पढ़ते थे, जो गरीब होते थे हम जैसे लोग, ठीक है, सरकारी स्कूलों में जाते थे, ठीक है, अमीर होते थे जो लोग कॉन्वेंट स्कूल में जाते थे. आज सरकारी स्कूल हमें पता है, आपको पता है कि दिल्ली के सरकारी स्कूल पूरे भारत में बेस्ट है.
No, but no, what you are stating, Dr. Akash, what you're stating is a known fact. But what I wanted to know from you was that today was a rally to save the constitution, to save the democracy. But when Sunita Kejriwal, my all sympathies with her at this point of time, and with this feeling, I'm asking you this question: that despite this rally being a rally to save the constitution, to save the democracy, it seemed that her speech was centered only around Arvind Kejriwal. The Aam Aadmi Party leaders had centered everything around themselves. This is what the feeling I got when I saw the speeches made by Atishi and several other RAP leaders who were speaking on your Aam Aadmi Party channel. And nobody was talking about the larger message today, that was save the democracy and save constitution. And also when Sunita Kejriwal was reading out, she spoke about the 6 guarantees, which she said that, we had not discussed this with the India bloc leaders, but, I'm reading out these guarantees. So why was this transgression made? I was really keen on knowing this from you.
See, Sunita Kejriwal is not a politician. She is a wife of a politician. Her husband has been killed.
No, but
What
she
she
was
would
reading
do-
out. No.
What
She was reading
Kalpana
out.
said,
She was reading
what
out
Mrs.
Arvind Kejriwal's message. She was reading out Arvind Kejriwal's message from the jail. That's what she began her speech with.
See, Arvind Kejriwal is jailed. He is a sitting chief minister. He cannot communicate with the other leaders, but he can tell that what is his vision of this country. And his vision is really positive vision. His vision is having schools for every person. I know that China developed after it revamped its education. He wants to do it in India. What's the problem? He wants to give employment. He wants to give electricity. He talks about common man. The one thing that Bharatiya Janata Party has forgotten. And I want to tell you, through you, I will give one statement, which is that today, if you are thinking that our country is not going in the right line, you are complaining after reading newspapers, education के लिए अच्छी schools नहीं है, hospitals नहीं है. भाई साहब, सिर्फ अखबार पढ़ के grievance देना वो काम नहीं आता. You have to come out. You have to support people who are independent, because the media won't. Just imagine, today you watch today's evening news channel, and they will all give the news that will be shared on BJP's Twitter handle. When they are not speaking, the common man has to speak. You have to support the people who are balanced.
Okay, I got your message. I got your message. No. I got your
Otherwise, we
message.
cannot complain. We don't have the right to complain.
No. See, she read out the guarantees which were given by Arvind Kejriwal. He was inside the jail. And, the point is that she couldn't discuss this with the partners. That is the point which she made. And that is what really made me curious to ask that why couldn't the India partners be, why couldn't she have a discussion on this? She could have easily asked the partners like Congress. There were other parties also who were present. Were they not taken in confidence?
Neeluji, in India Alliance, it's a new alliance. Many things should have been done. I totally agree with you. I have some complaints from Congress that why this particular alliance was not formed during the state elections which happened. Why there was the seat sharing not done earlier. But having said that, I must say that yes, the Indian Alliance is late in discussing things, coming together. But this Maha rally is a turning point in the politics of this country, specifically in the politics of Arvind Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi.
Okay, now let me move beyond the Arvind Kejriwal's arrest, because the rally was about a bigger message today. And I want to come to Sharad Gupta now. The Priyanka Gandhi, though she spoke towards the last, her speech was the last, and she made a set of demands, which I want to read out for the viewers. First was that the Election Commission should ensure a level playing field for the 2024 elections. That was demand number 1. Demand number 2 was that EC, that is Election Commission, should stop the misuse of IT, ED, and the CBI and stop the coercive action taken against the opposition parties. Demand number 3, Hemant Soren, Arvind Kejriwal should be freed. Demand number 4, the financial clampdown on opposition parties before the election should be stopped. And demand number 5 was The Supreme Court should institute an SIT to probe the electoral bonds and collection of money by the BJP through their vindictive ways. Now, what would you really say to these demands coming from the India bloc?
Very interesting, very precise. And we have been talking about having a level playing field in the elections, which has been completely altered in favor of the ruling BJP. So it was a very succinct and precise demands. And I think besides that, what she said was another very interesting point about Ram and Ravan. How Ravana had all the resources, army, chariot, and everything, whereas Ram had only faith, truth, and belief. So, like Congress is not deprived of all the resources. So her story, her speech was very interesting, and I think it's going to galvanize the entire cadre of not only the Congress but the entire opposition. Although the joint rally has come a little late in the day, and I don't know how far it will fructify the whole agenda and the plan. But the fact that all political parties, they are now coming together amid the rolling election process. So if it had come about a month or 2 months ago, things would have been a little better for the opposition. So let's hope cadre is galvanized and people are convinced about what the joint opposition leaders are stating now.
Right. All right. So let me come to Pushparaj now. Pushparaj, what do you see really changing for the India Alliance after today's mega rally at Ramlila Maidan? What is really going to change? Because I saw a few positives coming out, because so far, it was felt that democracy, constitution, all this was a very academic discussion. But today, after listening to all the leaders and the kind of examples they gave, and those examples were meant for a common man, on the street to understand. Say, for example, the match fixing jibe, which was made by Rahul Gandhi. Then Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge said that it's almost like, Modi has created potholes all around you, and then he wants you to play cricket. So how can you play cricket on that ground? So, with analogies like these, the India bloc leaders today really made their narrative palatable for the common man. But will they succeed in taking this message to the doorstep? Because with a little time in hand and just few weeks left, if I may say, will they be able to take this narrative to the people? And what can really change from today?
Hi, Neeluji. Looking at this issue structurally, it's obvious that in a mature or functional democracy, some stated, unstated norms have to be operational, and that basically the executive has to restrain itself. Only then can the opposition or the media, civil society, businesses function freely and fairly. The problem is that once the government is unhinged from constitution and institutional values, none of these are able. There is no level playing field. None of these have rights or freedoms. I mean, this is what's happened in Nazi Germany, in Stalinist Russia, or in colonial India. The problem is, to communicate this to the Aam Janta, you need to be able to relate these issues, these structural, abstract, so-called esoteric issues, to them. This entire, if you see some of these speeches that happened today were quite nuanced in trying to make this relevant. Two of them you of course talked about. One is of course the cricketing analogies by Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge. Then of course Tejasvi Yadav's speech with the song that he talked about, Govinda. What I'm trying to say is that they are trying very hard to make this relatable to people. Now, the BJP is clearly trying to recreate the bogey of institutionalized political corruption that it used to great effect in 2011, 2014. Aam Aadmi Party, of course, was born out of that movement. Now, this will not work as effectively as before, there are multiple reasons. Psychological alignments are already set in India. Those who could have been polarized by BJP have already been in the last decade. That catchment area isn't increasing. Secondly, it has already absorbed many people who were allegedly corrupt, and it has actually rallied against them before. And then the fact is that it has had ample opportunities to act on this corruption in the last 10 years. That it has not, and it has chosen to be performative in his Raj Dharma, is glaringly evident. But to communicate all of this, to say that Prime Minister's na khaunga, na khane dunga is questionable, and that unki niyat, unki niti, their intentions are flawed. To do that, you're going to have to kickstart a mass movement. That's what's happening through this. Now, one is, of course, we were involved in some of these conversations at the back in the India this thing. I think that there is tremendous maturity shown by almost all the parties, including the TMC, which came out and said that we are with the India bloc. We are not going to be leaving it. We were and are continue to be in that India bloc. All of the parties, I mean, almost all the parties spoke unanimously about structural issues in a way that is communicable and it is easily absorbed by the Aam Janta. And as Shabnam ma'am has said, the crowd was responding to these issues because if you're able to relate it to them, their life, their roti kapda makan sadak bijli pani jaan jahan jivika, people see that, you know what, this thing actually directly impacts me. That is one thing. Now the second thing is, I don't think this has come through so far in the analysis that has happened, but one of the common threads that was being talked about constantly in the India party meetings, in the discussions, in the India committee discussions, was that we have to use this rally to be a bugle call to every Indian to say that come out, because this is a historic moment, and after this there is going to be grave threats to our democracy, to our constitutional idea of India. You need to now put in as much as we can. We are doing our level best with the limited resources, with tremendous pressures on us. Three parties have been slapped with cases, with financial tax violations. The Indian National Congress with 3,657 crores, the CPI was 10 crores, and CPIM also has been, although I don't know the quantum of the figure. Two sitting chief ministers, Hemant Soren first, and then Arvind Kejriwal have been jailed, as well as multiple ministers. The point is the India parties are doing their level best at the constituency level to fight this battle. But to create this mahal, it requires the help of every progressive Indian. That is what this rally was about. It was primarily a clarion call to progressive Indians. Come out, like the Quit India movement, like the freedom struggle. We need your help today. And I think that was the clear message that I at least felt was communicated by all the leaders of the India bloc, except one or two, and you already pointed out that, you know, it was more individualized, personalized, and that's fine. I mean, some parties tend to be excessively focused on individuals. That's perfectly all right. But by and large, the overwhelming message was, we need you, we are with you, and you need to stand for democracy. That's what the clear message was.
Absolutely. And I'm just trying to compare with what BJP leaders have been saying. And I'll come to you, Girish, to what just Pushparaj said, that, you know, the structural deficiencies with the BJP in power, all these problems were addressed: save the constitution, save the democracy. All the leaders spoke about inflation, unemployment, all those figures. In fact, one of the leaders also quoted the latest ILO report when they spoke about the unemployment. So all those issues were addressed. But BJP has a tried and tested narrative which they have been trying to build since yesterday. I saw the Delhi BJP poster which said that it's a mega rally of the thugs. Then some BJP leaders have been saying that all have congregated to save corruption and to save the corrupt family. Now that is the kind of narrative which the BJP is sending out. Now, if you compare the two narratives, one narrative which talks about saving the constitution, saving the democracy, and here the BJP's the very, very boring narrative, as I felt so far, was about corruption. How seriously will people start taking BJP now? You'll have to unmute yourself. Girish, you're not audible. Yeah.
There is a lot of difference in the last election of 2019. See, there was Pulwama, and all said and done, 37% and 303 seats. They were always successful in breaking the opposition. So that 67%, when they come and stand behind, what is the option with BJP, you can tell me. So they can see that they are losing. This was the first thing that they had to understand. Secondly, as Gopal Rai rightly said, that this is a place of moment. You see, whatever has happened at Ramlila Maidan has gone down in history very well. It's right from 1963 when we fought the war with China, and that was the first very world famous song, Ae Mere Watan Ke Logo, sang by Lata Mangeshkar on Republic Day. Same comes with 65 when Lal Bahadur Shastri gave the very famous dialogue Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. That went a long way. So there is a history. And where, if you listen to Priyanka, she said that, Ramlila, when you do Ravan Dasera, that is the end of the ego. Here, यहाँ पर ego खत्म हो जाता है. यहाँ पे हनन होता है. तो exactly what she wanted to say is this. And definitely there are a lot of factors. What they have done. Even today, Prashant Bhushan has answered the letter, 600 signatories who wrote letter to Chief Justice, and he had answered that, so, this is the way they should immediately come out. He said that always also history should be checked. All those who have signed and who were named in Panama Papers, so they are interested to write. So definitely, this is the way they should immediately counter and come up. And people have now started learning. As you rightly said, I was seeing the right program of Meerut, and if you see India Today and these people, 387 people watching, 67 people watching. So this is exactly even everybody is realizing, but now they cannot come out and say. And this all dialogue baji that is going on of this, what was that man fellow Burma and all these, they are trained to just say something. Whatever you say, how to find an anonym to that and say something. This is what they are trained. So they will keep on speaking. Only they want to get into limelight. As I said, many places we have seen when there is a visit of Home Minister or Prime Minister, the officers get work overtime. They get so active in all the cases which are going to effect and where they get happy, they will go and catch hold of that man and put him behind the bars. The day they come, there should be headlines, this officer has been arrested. So these are all things that are happening, but there is a lot of difference between 19 and 24 now. See, Pulwama they had a lot of sentiment, and that was a small time where they had an opportunity to say that we are going to change. Now, even today in Meerut, PM saying is the same thing, that you will vote for for 5 more years and we will be 3 trillion economy. We will be the number 3 in the world. Now, people will not buy that again and again, the same thing. Had you done that, you would have proved 5% or 10% in last 10 years. Let's say I have done this much and now I am doing that. He has done all the blunders which are now being narrated by the opposition. And biggest advantage is that all these regional parties who are here, now they will go back, tell them in the regional languages. So this will have a far-reaching repercussions now. And people are trying to understand, right? Unemployment and these burning issues, we not tell again and again. Everybody knows it.
Absolutely. So now I'll come for the final round of questions. 1 minute each to all the speakers. I'll come to you, Shabnam, first. So at the end of the day, on a day when this Maha rally has happened, the message to the common man has been sent out by the India bloc leaders. So can I ask you a very quick question, that has the Modi magic been busted today by the India bloc leaders in the eyes of the common man? Yes.
I think Modi magic has been busted long ago. It's only the Godi media which is trying to project him still as somebody who has brought some big changes. But I just want to say one very important thing which was said. I don't remember who said it. Either Soren's wife or Sagarika. They said that television and all means of communication are not available to the India Alliance. So we request you to become our communicators to the world. And I think that's a very important message, that, since the mainstream media, what it is called, it is totally narrating only what Modi and his government does. So requesting ordinary people who are there, but also not just attend, but also to reach out to more people, become their televisions. And the same thing was said 2 days ago. We had a program in Rohtak. Asha Hooda said exactly the same thing. Become our televisions for people around you. And I think that's very important, as Pushpraj is saying, for ordinary people to now join this struggle of safeguarding the constitution in this country.
Right. In fact, in today's rally, all the leaders who spoke, they spoke about how all the sections of the society, they feel the pinch, whether it is the farmers, whether it's the youths, all sections they spoke about. But Pushpraj, what Shabnam just mentioned, so is Godi media or the mainstream media, will they be forced now, after today's rally, to pick on the narrative of the India bloc leaders? What India Alliance has to say, will they be forced to do it, or will they still sing paeans of Modi, and will they still chant Modi hai to mumkin hai?
Oh, that's a question for the ages. I don't really think that the legacy media that there is, given that the again this is a structural problem because legacy media has become so dependent on government revenue, government ads for their existence. I am not very sanguine about the media switching since at a time when they're having to lay off so many people and they're going to have to depend on the government for their primary source of revenue. I don't think that is going to change anytime soon. However, having said that, everything that is happening today, including the media's compulsion in showing this, is reflective of a very a slow, almost imperceptible shift that is happening in mass consciousness. The BJP is desperate. We keep thinking that this election is inevitable. It is not. The fact that despite this performative religiosity, despite having a massive war chest, despite controlling the media and social media, despite leveling the entire apparatus of the state, the governing instruments of the state against the opposition, despite all of this, they're still having to resort to underhand tactics to cripple the opposition. There is something seriously wrong with the BJP. They don't think that this election is a done deal. And the problem is that they are trying to now, as people have, all of them have said, to create an uneven playing field. The challenge is that I feel that, especially in Maharashtra, Bihar, the entire South, even in the heartland states, a silent wave is going amongst the silent majority. The silent majority, as I said, is not buying into what the BJP has done. Think about their meta narratives. In 2014, their meta narrative was Vikas, development. In 2019, it became Rashtravad, nationalism. What are they doing today? They don't have an Achedin Vikas or Rashtravad any longer. They are
Right.
depending on saying that they're depending on finger pointing at the opposition, saying that they did not do this, they did this. Arey bhai sahab, you have been in government for 10 years. You talk about your achievements, your record. You don't finger point there. So this
Absolutely.
desperation is reflective of what is happening on the ground. People don't seem to be wanting to vote in the BJP.
Right. So I'll just pick on your point, and Sharaji, I'll come to you that BJP is lacking that meta narrative which it had in 2014 and 2019. And how seriously do you think the people will because today also when Prime Minister Modi was talking in Meerut, he spoke about Viksit Bharat, he spoke about 5 trillion economy and all those cliched promises which he keeps making in every rally. Do you think that the people are really going to buy him now?
Religion is one opium which fades rather slowly, and BJP has been keeping the whole country opiated for last 10 years, especially after the Ram Mandir construction. So these things are of course there besides the religion. So let's not discount that. And especially the western and northern India is high on such a opium. So I think the areas where BJP scored last time, so it is going to get slightly weaker this time, but I'm not sure how weak and who is going to score on those seats. But at least it is going to score much lesser than what is scored last time.
Right.
That I'm sure
Okay.
of.
Right. Okay. So quick comments now from Akash and Girish. Akash, I'll come to you first. So it's hopelessness for BJP and India Alliance getting more and more hopeful, getting more and more confident about the people returning back, especially the floating voters who were, confused. They were with BJP, but after today's narrative, what they've heard from the India bloc leaders, do you think that there is a chance for this floating voter to return back to the India Alliance?
See, first of all, your question that is the media going to change? No, not going to change. AD or CBI का डर सबको है, ठीक है? They're not going to. Second point is the water going to come back to India bloc very fast? They're very late. But I would say this that this is a good fight. This is not a one-sided fight. There's a good fight going on to happen. And India bloc has come pretty late into the game. BJP is much earlier. But this time, said by other people, they don't have a narrative. India bloc had. That's the game changer.
Okay, so Girish, concluding comment from you on the today's Maha rally and what is really going to change according to you now from today onwards?
So things are definitely changing. As I told, the arithmetic is very clear. It is 37 versus 6. Now, one thing, if I just would remind you that what Mallikarjun Kharge said, that in parliament lobby, when I met Nada and PM and they all there, they are jealous type of people. So he's asking Mallikarjun, आप कब से शुरू कर रहे हो campaign? And Mallikarjun said that हमको करना तो है लेकिन हमारा कोई बैंक से पैसा चुरा के लेके गया है.
Yes,
This was the indirect message that he gave. Yes. So they are still trying to bully the people, and now people are not going to take this. They're getting irritated as much they are speaking. As much now wrong promises they'll make, they are losing the seats. That is definite.
All right, so we'll have to wait and watch how this campaign now unfolds. But it seems that today's mega rally was a successful rally. They tried to convert an academic discussion of save the democracy, save the constitution for a common man, giving examples, giving analogies so that it becomes more palatable. Things like, what Mallikarjun Kharge and Rahul Gandhi said, that if the constitution is taken away from you, your rights will be taken away from you. You would not have reservation. So these are small little examples which are given by the leaders, which will really build, I think, a very credible narrative. But how this narrative will be taken to the doorstep of the common man still remains a challenge. And we'll have to wait and watch how this campaign builds up in the coming days. Thank you so much, Sharad Gupta, Girish, Shabnam, Pushpraj, and Dr. Akash. Thank you so much for joining.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.